AITA for telling my boyfriend to not control comment on what I'm eating despite being overweight. Hi everyone, I just need some advice, and maybe some perspective. Sorry for the length of this post. I 29M have been dating my boyfriend 45M for just over a year. We love each other, and although there is an age difference, it hasn't really become much of a big deal overall, and we have a lot in common. However, it has created a bit of a complex, where he is aware of how much more worldly he is than I am, and he generally tries to teach me things quite a bit and assumes he knows better than me, which, to be fair, he often does. A big issue that has come up continually is that he tends to disapprove of my eating choices. This is fair. I have always struggled with being overweight throughout my life and have continually told him how I want to change my body and how I am not happy with my current physique. And in general, he is very caring and supportive. Also, a bit of context. His type is generally larger guys, and all of his exes have been overweight, obese. However, quite a few times since then, he has controlled what I ate, or at least gotten moody whenever I would even so much as mention eating or liking something that's fried, unhealthy, childish. To the point where he has told me, "You are not eating that," or "This stuff is garbage, we're not having that for dinner." A few months ago, my family sent me quite a lot of candy I like from back home. I'm from another country originally. He saw that it was way too much and said he was taking half of it to his place so I wouldn't eat it all. He didn't even ask before he did it, but said it is available whenever I want at his place, and just to not have it all in one place. This kind of upset me, but I brushed it off as his way of caring for me. The most recent event which has sparked this post was this past weekend. We were just celebrating something and we bought a small cake of a flavor we both enjoy, but that I particularly like. He knows this. To him, the cake had a disgusting amount of frosting on it, and when I was finished eating a bit of my cake sponge, there was still a lot of frosting left over. Before I could eat it, he took the plate with the frosting away and said that I shouldn't be eating that, and he went and threw it out. I got a bit upset, which made me feel pathetic and weak, getting upset over food like I did when I was a teenager. And then with the next slice, I asked if he could keep me some of the frosting, and he didn't. He took most of it off and threw out the rest of it, giving me just the cake sponge with a tiny amount of the frosting still on it, saying, "You see, so much better. You don't need all that shit." I confronted him the next day, asking if he could maybe not just do something like that regarding my food without asking me if it was okay first. In fairness to him, though, I probably would have been upset if he even asked. He very reluctantly agreed, although was seemingly disappointed and annoyed when I asked this. He said in a relationship, how we eat and generally behave, drinking, going out, hobbies, traveling, etc., should be somewhat tailored to what the other person wants and how they act, even noting that he has started eating less healthily since he got into a relationship with me. He developed extreme health-conscious eating in his 30s and is far more in shape than I am, and expects me to put in the same effort. He said he didn't ask me because he would be pretty sure I'd make the wrong decision and eat all the icing, and that he's concerned for my health. I totally understand this is coming from a good place, but I guess I'm really starting to second-guess myself as to whether or not I understand how a relationship should be, and that perhaps I'm actually the given that I told someone who really cares about me a big insecurity and oftentimes act in a way that, given that information, is making it worse, and that I get upset for him helping. However, I suppose I just don't like all of the comments that are made, and when he takes the choice away from me. This is frustrating. AITA for telling my overweight friend that I maintain my body through a healthy lifestyle, not genetics. A few years back, 7 of my friends from high school and I decided that no matter where we lived or how busy we were going to meet each other for brunch once a year for the rest of our lives. We don't have an exact date, but we usually pick a week in June or July when it is warm and drive to our hometown for bottomless brunch at our favorite spot. Keep in mind that for some of us, this is the only time of the year that we see each other. I, in particular, live 2,500 miles away, so I hardly see any of these girls. Regardless, It is always a good time, until recently when one of my friends, Rue, would not stop commenting on my food intake. For some background, I am and always have been a very active person. I ran track and cross country for our college, and I now compete in ultra marathons. For this reason, I eat a lot of calories, and I stay pretty thin. I also eat reasonably healthy, balanced meals most of the time. However, for the one day a year at our favorite restaurant, nothing is off limits. I eat plate after heaping plate of cheesy eggs, pancakes, hash browns, sausage, bacon. Literally, I could eat the entire menu. Rue has always been on the heavier side. While I don't really pay attention to someone's weight changes or eating habits, Rue points it out, so I can't help but notice. Every year I eat nothing but oatmeal and I keep getting bigger and bigger, and OP is over there gorging herself and is stick thin. It's like every calorie OP eats shows up on my body. Soon my friends started to chime in, saying that I was lucky I have such good genetics and can eat whatever I want. This really bothered me in part because it completely invalidated the work I do to maintain my healthy body, but also because I could tell Rue was frustrated with her weight, and I felt my friends were doing more harm than good. I explained that I do not normally eat like this, and I also exercise very frequently, and that people shouldn't look at a snapshot of someone's life and think that's how they live on the daily. I also said eating salads for every meal and never enjoying a meal out with friends is just going to make her more frustrated, which will slow her progress. I thought this was going to be helpful advice, but my friends all looked at me livid. One of them called me incredibly privileged and said I wasn't aware of my privilege, and accused me of shaming Rue. The rest of them followed suit and told me to get off my high horse. Eventually, I'd had enough. I said I was just trying to help and that they're only going to hurt Rue. Rue was silent the whole time. I packed up my things, paid my bill, and left. Now I'm feeling torn because it's been a few days and none of these people will talk to me. I reached out to the person in the group I was closest with, and she said I really overstepped and should apologize to the group and at least to Rue. I had good intentions, but if these people won't talk to me, maybe I screwed up. Did I? AITA for divorcing my husband because he's extremely overweight? I, 27F, have a 34M husband. We got married 6 years ago, and we were together for 3 years prior to that. When we first met, he was very fit and quite the gym rat. However, since our wedding, he has gained over 225 pounds and is still adding to that number. He is not the man I fell in love with. Every day when I come home from work, the kitchen is trashed. He can't clean up for himself anymore and needs assistance with many daily tasks. It hurts to see how much he has lost himself. And honestly, I'm getting quite tired. I didn't sign up for this. It's like I'm working 2 jobs. Last week, when I served him divorce papers, he blew up on me. He said how could I do this to him and accused me of being fat-phobic. Since then, his entire side of the family has been harassing me non-stop. They've been telling everyone I know that I'm a terrible person and it's really starting to get to me. So, AITA,